I ended up at an auction, and this entire table full of stuff cost me $75. Obviously, I didn't buy it all at once. It was a very long process. They, you know, they didn't do each item one by one, but they did like 2, 3, 4 things. They would basically, there'd be a box about this size, and it'd be full of junk, and they would start the auction off, and we would bid on it. And started off slow for me, and I ended up getting quite a bit. But for 75 bucks for the table, you guys can let me know how I did, except for the power drill. The power drill is my power drill. I was working on, I don't remember what I was doing, but it just hasn't gotten put back in the garage. Anyways, you guys, I'm trying to remember where my mic is, and hopefully I'm not covering it up. You guys have been liking the garage sale footage, videos, stuff like that, eBay stuff so much. I figured I probably had enough content here for one whole video. So let's get into it. These guys, Star Wars stuff, man, Star Wars stuff can be so hit or miss. Star Wars stuff can either be worth a hell of a lot of money or a whole lot of nothing. And if you're not careful, you can end up hurting yourself. Now, I don't think I did too bad on these. These things were like 3 or 4 in a box and I think I got them for like $2 a box or something like that. So whenever I won the bid, I just went ahead and took all of them. Figured I can try to sell them individually if any of them have individual value. I mean, all of them have individual value, but if like, you know, Jar Jar is more, you know, more rare than some of the other stuff, then I'll sell him separate. But if not, I'll just lot it all together. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, I've got all of it here. Anakin, I would assume, R2 is pretty sick. He's like really dirty. I'm gonna need to wash him up a little bit, but yeah, he's there. This like Star Wars, this like holds collectibles on the inside. It's like a Darth Vader bust. The reason I actually picked him up, I got him for I think $2 or $1 even. The reason I picked him up is because the garage sale, there's a channel that I like to watch, Garage Sale Flips. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Garage Sale Flips. My dude Lonnie, shout out to Lonnie. He had just sold one of those for, I believe, like $18, 20 bucks basically. So I was like, whatever, I'll pick it up. These things were there. I know they say like $2.99 on them, so like that's probably not a good sign, but they are Hallmark keepsakes, and I know some Hallmark ornaments can go for quite a bit, and it's Star Wars, so I don't think they're worth much though. I think I looked it up afterwards and they're kind of but there's 4 of those. I don't know. The Star Wars stuff is probably the most questionable, to be honest. But then we got quite a bit of video games and stuff like that. So let's keep going through it, and I'll show you what I got here. So this was just a random box full of stuff. It looks pretty pointless because it is pretty pointless. I don't know. I might be able to get a couple bucks out of that. I kind of rearranged some of the boxes though. So the reason I bid on this was probably there was a Nintendo in it or something like that. There was a couple things like this gold controller, you know, that was like the only thing of value in the little box that it was in, but I bid a couple bucks on it because I looked, and the resale on these is like 15, 20 bucks just for the Wii remote. So that's like the Wii Pro controller or whatever, and it's a gold one, so it's slightly rare. Got all of these Sega games. Actually, I was surprised by this. I can't remember. I think I looked it up. It's like 10 or 20 bucks. Sorry, my nails are dirty, guys. I mowed the lawn earlier and cleaned out the deck, and now I'm disgusting. But this thing's brand new, and I actually scanned the barcode on eBay, and it was like 10, 15 bucks. So that was a surprise. Box copy of Sonic. Bunch of random sports titles that I'll probably just lot together as long as there's no individual value. I highly doubt it. And then Sonic 2, and this is actually a charge dock for a 3DS. Doesn't have the cable in the back, but that might be worth a couple bucks, not sure. Old school, do you guys remember these? My first vehicle did not have a CD player, so I had to use one of those to run my MP3 player or my disc player to my car, and that's actually how I would play music in my shit. So this thing is actually kind of a funny story. I missed the box of stuff that this was in. This kid bid on it. This kid like walked up, he hadn't been there, and he just like came up and bid, and that was the first thing he won. And I was like, did you bid on, whenever they continued on to other stuff, I was like, did you bid on that for the N64 bag? And he looked at me like he had no idea what I was talking about. And so I was like, the bag on top, and he's like, oh, I don't know, I don't even know what I got. And I'm like, what? So at that point, I'm interested. He paid $1 for the box, I think. So I was like, because I remember this was the only thing. It was literally like a box full of junk and then this N64 bag. And so I was like, well, that bag that's on top, I was like, I'll give you $1. That's what you paid for the box, right? And he was like, okay, sure. So I got $1 out of my wallet, handed it to him, picked this off of his box and threw it in my stuff. I thought it was pretty cool, and it's probably worth a few bucks. This right here is actually pretty cool. It is not a first aid kit. Oh. Rip the first aid kit. Now, this is going to make it real hard one-handed. Okay, hold on. This was a box that no one else really... Okay, so first, a little bit of backstory. Ended up at this auction almost on accident. I think I might have been covering the damn microphone. My girlfriend was just like, hey, there's an auction going on over here at blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, let's go check it out. Went and checked it out. We saw all this gaming stuff, and I was like, awesome. In our town, very small town, I was like, the only competition I'm going to get is if the local game shop owner, not GameStop, but there's like a local game shop. I was like, if the local game shop owner is there, that's probably going to be my only competition. Left the auction, had a couple other things to do, came back time the auction was supposed to start, and first thing when we got out of the truck, I was like, he's fucking here. I saw him. He's a very recognizable dude, and I saw him looking through all this stuff. I was like, damn it. And he was like the only person I was bidding against all this stuff. Like I said, I got this whole table for $75. I probably would have got it for like $35 if he wasn't there, because no one cared. I looked in here, I was like, oh, first aid kit. I'm glad I unzipped it, because there is just every instruction booklet ever for like decent games. The Lemmings instruction manual and the poster that came with it. So if I come across a box and a copy of that, will be good. You know, it's not like just random instruction booklets. It's like instruction booklets for good games. So as I come across these games, which I do all the time, I can throw an instruction manual with it, at least, if not a box or whatever, and you can get a complete listing, which is worth a hell of a lot more. So that was really cool to see. This guy was like a hell of a video game collector. It was him and his mom passed away like within the same few months or something like that, unfortunately. So it also kind of felt good that all the money was going, you know, to the family to help with funeral costs and stuff like that. So, and then what else we got? Right here we got a Game Boy Advance SP leather case, which is pretty cool. I don't think anything is in there. In fact, yeah, no, nothing in there, but that's pretty cool. I've had some pretty decent luck with these kind of things, reselling them, and I believe what was in there was this, which is a 3DS XL, which, if you guys know, about the only DS is worth getting. If you get a DS Lite, they're like at every garage sale out there, almost more than Game Boy Advances. It's really weird. You see DS Lites almost as much as you see Nintendo Wii's at garage sales. If you can't get them really cheap, don't get them. They're only worth about $20. And I know the first time I got a DS Lite used, I was like, oh, this is going to be worth like $50, $60. Definitely not the case. But the 3DSs are worth much more. It's a little dirty, just needs to be cleaned up. But 3DS XL, I was pretty excited. And it looks so weird because it's in like a plastic protective case, and underneath this I like smelled it, because I was like, well, as soon as I took the case off, I realized what it was. It's fingernail polish. Someone used fingernail polish to put like this blue sparkly paint all over the top. So I'm hoping I can use like some fingernail polish remover and get that off and just restore it back to its original self. Otherwise, it does power on and work and everything, so that's totally fine. Over here, I've got two Sega Genesis. I know you guys saw the first. So far, you guys have been probably like, dang, you didn't even get much for $75. But this is where it gets a little bit better. Well, the 3DS and the Sega Genesis games weren't bad, but two Sega Genesis, lots of controllers. There's a GameCube controller, more Sega Genesis controllers and hookups and stuff like that. In here, we got an SNES, which is actually really, really clean. If you guys have seen SNESs, you know, used anywhere, I guess eBay, garage sales, whatever, usually they're super yellowed. I find them all the time, and they're hardly ever this clean. I think I've only seen one. In fact, sometimes you find them this clean, but then the purple buttons are like, it's weird. Like, if you don't get a yellow SNES, you get a clean one like this, but then the purple buttons are more gray like this for some reason. It's really weird. So this one, the buttons are still purple. The console itself is still that beautiful, nice light gray. And then in here, you see there's a 64 down there as well. I don't think there's anything underneath. No, just more cables and stuff. This little palette of games wasn't too bad. The Super Game Boy plays Game Boy games on your SNES. That thing can sell for 20 bucks alone, which is pretty good. Karate Kid, I thought it was complete. It's not complete. It doesn't have the instruction manual, and no, it's not in my little manual treasure chest over there. But it is cool just to see the boxed copy of Karate Kid. The game is in there. So if I can find an instruction booklet, I've got a nice boxed copy of that. Yeah, like I said, the Super Game Boy, and then you got Super Punch-Out, Mario Kart, Monopoly, Pool, Mortal Kombat 3, Super Pinball, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Super Play Action Football, Top Gear, Space Invaders, Vegas Stakes, and then a copy of Super Mario Brothers 2, which is not bad. Random Star Wars container thing was just in one of the boxes I bid for. I didn't bid on it in particular, but it was in there. And then my girlfriend actually opened it up, and she was like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "No, I did not, but that is awesome." Actually, is that cracked? It's not cracked. It's just got some scratches on the outside, which is not a big deal. And actually the disc isn't in the worst condition. And again, I can resurface games, even even GameCube games. So Mario Kart Double Dash, it's like a $30 game right there. So these random cards, they're like cards that you scan, I believe, on your DS. Maybe not. It has no, I don't know. I think they're, one of them I saw, yeah, here we go. What is this? What is this? AR cards for Nintendo 3DS. Yeah, so maybe it does. Maybe it just picks up the picture on the camera on the 3DS. I really don't know. I have no idea if there's any resale value on that at all. That's the thing with buying a huge lot of stuff like this. At a garage sale, sometimes you get stuff like that, and whatever. We'll see. This was kind of disappointing. I saw this in one of the boxes, and I didn't check it before I bid on it. I bid on this based on the fact that I thought there would be a 3DS in here. In fact, this might actually be the box for the one that's over there with the nail polish on it. So I guess I didn't even think about that. I could just use this box to sell it, because boxed consoles obviously do go up a little bit in value. But what was in here was actually, the manuals are in there, and then this was just shoved in. So but it does work. Battery's dead, but you can see it turns on for a second. So all I got to do, oh look, there it actually powered on. Yeah, so SPs are actually pretty decent little resale, so I was happy with that. I did see this, but I was happy to see that a Wavebird, people still pay really good money for a Wavebird, and the dongle, or whatever you want to call it, is here with it. So that is awesome. The only bad thing is it doesn't have the back battery cover, but that's still worth probably, I think, a $20 bill. So that's pretty cool. Random Darth Maul lightsaber that my kids were having a hell of a time playing with. And then in here there's just more random like RF modulators and stuff like that. And then I had never seen one of these, an NES Max gamepad. Actually pretty cool looking. I think I looked these up and they were worth 10, 15 bucks, something like that too. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Oh, and then this thing, I actually got really excited. Actually, hold on. There's some, oh God, I'm so sorry. There's a bunch of random like Lego instruction manuals and stuff. This auction had tons of Legos, literally just gallon-sized Ziploc bags full of Legos. And there was one guy that seemed to know what he was looking for. He looked at some of this older stuff like this that was just in the bag. There was some of the old pirates and stuff like that, and he paid like $40 for one of the bags, and picked up the one with all the old figures in it. And then all the other I was gonna get the Legos just for like my kids, but anyways, they ended up selling for $6 a bag, $8 a bag, stuff that I wasn't really comfortable with. And I saw this over on the board game table, and I was like, oh, the guy that's buying all these Legos is definitely gonna, he's definitely gonna get this, because I know for a fact that this is like vintage. Let's see if I can find a year on it. Come on, focus camera. Come on. Come on. Come on. Is it gonna do it? Come on. Oh my God. There. Oh. Come on, stay focused. There we go. 1989. Vintage, still in the box. As far as I could tell, pretty much all the pieces are there. The only bad thing about this, I don't think it's underneath here. Yeah, the instructions are not included in here. But as far as I can tell, damn near all the pieces are here, even the little Lego dudes. I scanned this, and I think a sealed box of this went for like $800, I believe. Obviously not worth near that much if it's not sealed, if it's open in this condition and everything. Actually, this condition's pretty good. The only bad thing is that the instructions aren't here. So I'm gonna download the instructions on the internet and kind of build it. One, just for fun. This thing was made a year after I was born. These were the Legos that I grew up with. Some of these similar sets, the pirate sets and the little medieval like castle sets and stuff like that. So I just freaked out when I saw it. But anyway, so we get over to the board game table. And the way they do these auctions, if you don't know, so there's a whole table full of board games, and he'll say, okay, choice, and he'll start bidding it off. So he'll start the bid at $5. If no one bids, he'll take the bid down to $3 and keep taking it up, and you know, until, all right, it would not be a Hova video if I didn't have to stop the recording in the middle to erase stuff off the memory card. But anyway, so if you've never been to one of these auctions before, the way it works is there's a whole table full of board games, and they'll say, okay, choice, and they start, you know, they start with a number. They usually start with like 5 or 10 or something like that. And nobody wants to bid. So then they come down. They might come all the way down to like $2 or $3 before somebody bids. Once somebody bids, then a few people will get in a bid war because nothing's been pulled off the table yet. So there's some good board games and stuff like that. I think the first bid got all the way up to like $8 or $10. I didn't bid in the first round. Why, I'm not really sure. I wanted to kind of wait and see what was going to happen. And the first bid ended for like $10, and I'm like, damn it, this guy's gonna pull those Legos, he's gonna pull those Legos, but they were on like the bottom of the stack. So I'm like, okay, either somebody stashed it there because they didn't want other people to see it, or it's just there and no one is gonna see it and I'm gonna get lucky, right? So this guy goes over there and he's pulling all the Pokemon games. There was like there was a couple Pokemon trading card games and stuff, which I should have made a move on because they were worth a little bit of money, but he pulled some Pokemon games and some older Monopoly games and stuff like that, you know. And I'm just waiting and waiting, and he doesn't pull it. So I'm like, yes, okay. So then I wait, and the second round of bidding goes, and I'm like, I'm just gonna see how low I can get this for, you know. And it went again, and I think the second lot went for like $6. And this guy comes over and he picks out a couple more things, and the whole time I'm just like, don't pull those Legos, don't pull those Legos. And at one point he was like 1 away from the Legos, but he pulled a different game out. So the next round of bidding goes, and at this time he goes all the way down to like $1 just to even start the bid because it had been pretty much picked over. And much to my surprise, there was one other guy still bidding. I think I bid $1, he bid $2. No, I ended up at $4, so he might have bid first. I bid $2, he bid $3, I bid $4, he opted out. So I got this thing for $4. And if you look these up, even loose, with the instructions, they do go better, unfortunately. But if you look these up, these things go for quite a bit of money. This might be my prize here out of all of it, to be honest. But out of like the 3DS, the Wii Remote, the Wavebird, the SNES, the N64, the 2 Sega Genesis, all the instruction manuals, the SNES games, and whatever happens with the Star Wars stuff is just bonus. So I did pretty good. My phone's ringing, so I gotta go. Also, to let you guys know, I know you guys are gonna probably be like, man, I would have loved to see footage from the auction. I just bought spy glasses. Coming soon. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!